The beginning of today's environmentalism and related movements in India can be traced back to the Chipko movement, which took place in the central Himalayan area during the early 1970s. The Chipko movement, started to save the Himalayan forests from being destroyed, has its origins in the time before independence. In the early 20th century, people organized many protests to challenge the colonial forest policy. In these protests, the main request from the people was that the advantages of the forest, particularly the access to fodder, should be given to the local community. The challenges have persisted even after independence, as the forest policies in independent India remain similar to those from the colonial period. The term Chipko, Chipak Jayenge, to hug, originated in 1973. In early 1973, the Forest Department did not allow the Dashauli Gram Swarajya Sangha, a local cooperative organization in the Chamoli district, to have ash trees for making agricultural tools. The Forest Department gave ash trees to a private company called Simon's Company. This event led the Dashauli Gram Swarajya Sangha to take a stand against this unfairness by lying down in front of timber trucks and setting fire to resin and timber depots, similar to the actions taken during the Quit India movement. When these methods didn't work well, Chandi Prasad Bhatt, one of the leaders, suggested hugging the trees, and that's how Chipko started. This way of standing up was really important in getting the private company to stop cutting down the ash trees. The movement became successful and spread to nearby areas, eventually gaining international recognition as the Chipko movement. The Chipko movement started by focusing on important environmental problems like the loss of trees and soil erosion. Three key factors contributed to the success of the Chipko movement. First, the strong connections between the ways local people earn a living and the nature of the movement. The local people view Chipko as a struggle for their essential needs that have been denied to them by the rules and decisions of the government. The specific area where the Chipko movement happened, along with the active role of women in supporting their families and their strong backing of the anti-alcohol campaign, has resulted in a remarkable level of support for women that is distinctive to the Chipko movement. The second part is about what agitation is like. Chipko stands out from other environmental movements because it has closely followed the Gandhian tradition of the freedom struggle, which emphasizes non-violence. Third, the straightforwardness and genuine nature of leaders such as Sunderlal Bahuguna, along with their connections to national figures like Mrs. Indira Gandhi and other politicians and officials, significantly contributed to the movement's success. The demands of the Chipko movement were as follows: complete stoppage of cutting trees for commercial purposes. Second, the traditional rights should be recognized on the basis of minimum needs of the people, making the arid forest green by increasing people's participation in tree cultivation. Formation of village committees to manage forests, development of the forest-related home-based industries and making available the raw materials, money and technique for it, and giving priority to afforestation in the light of local conditions, requirements, and varieties. What is distinctive about Chipko movement is that it was the forerunner as well as direct inspiration for a series of popular movements in defense of community rights to natural resources. Sometimes these struggles revolved around forests, in other instances, around control and use of pasture, mineral, or fish resources.